Hello everyone. Welcome to the winter wonderland out here. Check this out. Did it snow or did it snow? It came down hard and fast in big flakes. And for a couple of hours, it snowed. And this is what remains. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. And so I thought, let's go out and walk in it. The road crews did an excellent job clearing the roads. Some of the side roads still are in bad shape, but the main roads are pretty good. So got in the truck and off I went to come out here and explore and just share with you this winter landscape. And it's just taking in the natural beauty of it all. And one of the parks that I like to come to and walk. Water's moving. Look at that. The water is moving. This is the other side of the bridge. But you can appreciate I can even appreciate also, as much as I prefer the warmer weather, I can still appreciate the beauty of the season. And I'm not the only one that's been walking out here. I can see the tracks in the snow. People out walking. Probably walking their dogs in this. But impromptu video. And what to talk about. What to talk about as I walk along here, taking in the scenery. Zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. What's around the corner? I don't know. But yeah, and it's just going to be cold here into March. So the last few winters here in Ohio, they weren't too bad. But I'm telling you, we are making up for it now. We are making up for it now. Getting a walk in, get the body moving, at least do something. I can't sit too long. I just kind of get antsy and have to, at least at a minimum, go for a walk. Dress appropriately, got the boots on, all the winter clothes. Let's see if I can, and boots, winter socks, got the hat, got the military neck gaiter. I got a few of these. These neck gaiters are great. I've been out in I've done winter training in the Army, and boy, this neck gaiter was such a very important piece of military winter gear. Just something about having something around your neck and you can up over your mouth to keep the cold out. Wonderful piece of of gear, winter gear. And so yeah, we used to do training out in the cold. So I've been in Fort Hood, Texas in the wintertime, and believe it or not, it can get cold in Fort Hood. Another place that can get cold, Fort Polk, Louisiana. It can get cold out there. And I did some winter training up in Dahlonega, Georgia. Spent about a week or so with nothing but my rucksack on. There was just a small team of us. This is when I was in the Special Forces. And in Special Forces, you know, we're similar to the regular Army sometimes, in that every year we have to do our qualifications as well. And once a year, do our training to make sure that we're proficient. And one of those things that we were doing was where you're just out in the woods and given missions. You were given these, what do you call it? Fictitious type of missions or recreations. And we had to plan them and go do them. And do surveillance on a place or whatever the case may be. But it was like this, snow, and I slept out in this type of environment for like a week, and oh my goodness, it was cold. And then just operating out in it. And we were dropped in by a helicopter from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They flew us out in Chinooks. Task Force 160th dropped us off at night. And it wasn't snowing at Fort Bragg. And it was nighttime when they dropped us off in the mountains. And they lowered the ramp on the Chinook. And of course, the Chinook is all completely blacked out. Pilots are on night vision goggles. And they lowered the ramp, and they have the green light glow as we're exiting off the back of the helicopter. And I saw this stuff stirring around, and it looked like sand to me off the lights, the little small lights on the helicopter. And I thought, what is sand doing up here in the mountains? That helicopter took off, everything settled down, and I realized this ain't sand, it is snow. Yep, dropped us off in the snow, got our rucksacks on, and off to our objective and what we were supposed to do. And we just we stayed out there in the cold out there. And then the helicopters came in after that. I think it was about a week or so, and picked us up at night. And it was very impressive. You know, the 160th, they have a time on target plus or minus 30 seconds. And I think they picked us up around 2 a.m. in the morning, pitch black. I mean, you couldn't see nothing. You couldn't even see the hand in front of your face. That's how dark it was. And I'm looking at the time, and I'm thinking, oh man, they might be late. And nope, here they come. Right, exactly. They came hovering in and landing on that LZ landing zone right at 02 a.m. This big Chinook with the big fuel probe out in front. I'll post a picture of this thing. And completely black. I could feel the wind off the helicopter, but it was so dark, I couldn't even see the helicopter on the LZ. That's how blacked out that helicopter was. And then we're looking. And then you can see, just barely make out, they're lowering the ramp. And I could see the crew chief in the back of the aircraft get out, walk down the ramp. And the only reason why I could see him was he turned his lip light on his flight helmet. So pilots, crew members have what's called a lip light, where you can just push it with your lip and you have a light. And I saw that lip light, and that's where I knew where the aircraft was. And we grabbed our rucksacks, and a single file line, I believe it was 8 of us. There was eight-man team is what we were. And grabbed our rucksacks and went to the helicopter. And as we're, of course, I couldn't tell where the rotor blades were, so I had my head down. Got my rucksack on my shoulder. Heavy rucksack, by the way, 120-pound ruck, because I was a communications sergeant. And so I had a very heavy rucksack with all my gear in it, clothes, ammunition, spare batteries, radios, you name it. My food was all in that rucksack. Very heavy. And we're running up shuffling up to the aircraft. And I remember looking up forward of the aircraft, and I could make out the glow of the night vision goggles of the pilots. I could see their heads moving back and forth, wearing night vision goggles. And I thought that was the most impressive thing I'd ever seen. This big old Chinook helicopter, pitch black, what we call zero illume. There was no moonlight or anything, hardly any illumination that night. I mean, it was just black, pitch black. And those pilots came in there and landed that helicopter. We got into that nice warm helicopter. They picked straight on up off the ground, and off we went back to Fort Bragg and for debrief. And our support group, great support group in Special Forces, and the cooks had some soup and sandwiches and things like that for us when we were at the debrief room. And I tell you what, that chicken noodle soup, and I will still remember it to this day, was the best soup I ever had. Because I was just cold. We'd been out there for so long, and to have that hot soup just hit the spot, and I have never forgotten it. And so I think for a lot of military people, they appreciate those simple things of life, you know, hot food, or we used to say in the Army, hot chow, and clean sheets, a warm bed, showers, porcelain toilet seats, all those things that a lot of people may take for granted. Your military folks don't, or most of them don't, depending on what they did in the military. And but yeah, winter operations. So just sharing some stories from my time in the Army. And gosh, I can remember doing guard duty at even at Fort Bragg. We would do training exercises in the cold. And all we were issued at the time were those all leather speed lace boots. We weren't issued the winter boots one time. And we were out there in the cold with no winter boots, but we had our winter jackets and whatnot. And I tell you what, man, I think I borderline got frostbite on my feet. Because even to this day, my toes and feet are very cold sensitive. Very much so. And but yeah, I could barely feel my toes one time out at Fort Bragg. We would do these gunneries. I was in the 1st 17th Cav, my very first unit, and I was an engine mechanic at that time. And they would have these gunneries where the aircraft were out there shooting their miniguns and whatnot. And so we were out there, had our tents out there, but we played the game, had our foxholes, our fighting positions, guard duty, 50 cal, at the guard site. And we'd be rotating out there, pulling guard duty, and that kind of thing, guarding ammo, things of that nature, in the cold. So I can remember, a lot of times in the Army, whether it was rain, cold, hot, it didn't matter. We were out there conducting operations and training and stuff like this, But anyway, there's a little story, military story, sharing. And but I tell you, I don't take for granted, even to this day, a warm bed, and waking up in the morning, or if I hear it raining outside and I'm in the house and I hear the rain on the roof, I often think about, man, I'm glad I'm not out in it and operating in it like I used to as a profession. But we do it. We did it. Makes you wonder why some of us sign up for such a duty, the military, And people are still doing it. We still do it. And, but yeah, look at this weather, or look at the trees. You can see the beauty in it, And then where is everybody else at? But they were here. You can see the steps that people were at. I guess I'm late to the party out here, but anyhow, I just wanted to share this, share a few words, and anyone listening, hang in there. We're all going through something and figuring it out, doing this thing called life, going day by day. Sometimes it's hard to get up in the morning. I hear you. Sometimes you get up and think, man, what are you waking up for? And same thing, different day. You get up and you discipline yourself, motivate yourself to get going, and sometimes it can get kind of weary, and all the stresses of life. You get up, perhaps go to a job you don't like. You got to do it, and come home, all the different worries that we have, and then you got to go to bed, and you wake up and you do it all over again the next day. Just keep going and keep going and keep going. Keep going. And but that's the life. That's life we live. All right. I'm going to go down here, turn around, and then walk it back and head on home. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later. Take care. Hang in there.